The Brooklyn Nets will be one of the NBA's worst teams in the 2025-2026 season, but that's because they are in the midst of a big-time tank looking to stockpile future draft picks, get an extremely high lottery pick in the 2026 draft, hoping to land a top 3 pick there, and overall change the direction of this Nets franchise that is currently in shambles. However, ESPN has come out with their mock projections 3 years down the road. How do the Nets pan out in 2028 according to ESPN? I'll give you a hint. It is awful. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Brooklyn Boys Show here on a beautiful Tuesday, September 16th edition of the show. Appreciate you all tuning in. Smash the like and hit subscribe if you haven't done so yet. The best way to help us grow right here on the show is to share this. Throw questions, comments, thoughts in the chat for me to react to in just a little bit right after we get through the main bulk of this article that we will break down here, talking about the Nets 3 years down the road. So smash like and hit subscribe if you haven't done so yet, as we continue our growth, as we continue to try and expand the outlook on this channel and pushes this content out to fellow Nets fans, helps us grow the community. Overall, gets more people in the building, helps us get closer to that 500 subscriber mark that we're hoping to hit by preseason. But look, me, every Net fan out there, we're looking for a high lottery pick in this 2025 draft. And we know this Nets team is not going to be good in this upcoming season, whether it be rookie development, some of those guys going to be on Long Island, but whether it be just overall a lack of depth or a lack of scoring or a lack of defense or a lack of overall basketball play, head coach Jordy Fernandez is going to have his hands full. But arguably more importantly, general manager Sean Marks is going to have to find a way to dig the Nets out of this hole. And for this season, that will be full of the tank. It is going to be extremely interesting to see how this Nets squad is able to battle through adversity. But the main point of this video, we get to break down ESPN's mock projections 3 years down the line. And we'll get into an article that is outlined by Sharif Phillips Keaton of the Nets Wire, who does great stuff for them, and we'll break down everything he has to say in this article. And we'll start up top, just breaking down the situation of the Nets. The Brooklyn Nets are still in the early stages of its rebuild, as it is trying to get back to the point where the franchise can compete for the playoffs and beyond. Brooklyn is still looking for its franchise player, and the hope is that someone from the 2025 NBA draft can be that guy. However, there's one outlet that does not seem confident in the franchise's rebuild. Quote, the Nets struck gold last summer when they hired coach Jordy Fernandez, who immediately proved himself to be an asset. End quote from ESPN's Tim Bontemps. He wrote during his entry for the outlet's future NBA power rankings on ESPN's list, the Nets ranked 27th out of 30 teams, showing that Brooklyn's rebuild may not be as fruitful as the fan base is hoping for. Absolutely, this is going to be a tough year for us Nets fans. This is going to be a tough year for all those involved in the organization, because this team isn't going to really win many games. But if you don't have one of your guys from this 2025 class step up to be the future of this squad, if Yegor Gioman, who headlines this class, of course, isn't your future point guard, I think this draft goes to shambles, because you cannot draft 5 first-round rookies and then at the end of the day come up empty-handed and leave the building with nothing to show for it down the line. So you could easily package these picks up and turn it into something big at the end of the lottery. But instead, you want to bank on getting all these guys in the door. And I'll tell you what, if none of them pan out, I'm already tired of Sean Marks. His expiration date is rotting away by the minute here. And obviously it'll change when we see what happens with the 26 class, all depending on how the Nets play this year and what the lottery odds look like come draft lottery day and the ping pong balls get randomized. But at the end of the day, the Nets need a top 3 pick this year. The Nets need a franchise-changing guy. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case in this NBA draft. The Nets got moved back 2 spots. Then they finished sixth in the league. They picked eighth, missed out on your franchise guy there. And then you also end up not trading up back into the lottery, which you certainly had the assets to do, not only from that draft, but from all the other drafts you stockpiled. And the Nets also failed to do that. So, yes, it was a frustrating draft, but yes, we're in the midst of a rebuild. So, you didn't have a great 2025 draft. That's great. Move on, have a great 2026 draft class, and we'll leave it in the rearview mirror. If you can get one of these guys to be a long-term piece for the Nets, probably Yegor Gielman, you'd guess, but maybe Drake Powell steps up as that guy. Maybe Nolan Traore shocks us is that guy. You could certainly see a potential case where you forget that the Nets blundered this 2025 draft. 3 years down the line, 2028, I will be graduating high school. Man, I'm not going to remember draft night when the Nets took Ben Saraf and everybody hated it. If you get AJ DeBansta on your team doing what he think will do, if you have whatever high schooler today highlights the 2027 and 2028 draft on your team, who cares what happens to Ben Suraf? So that's what I take away from it. And yeah, the draft wasn't great, but the tank is in full swing. So let's get into the real bulk of the article here. And I think this is where the most important quotes we can pull from here. We'll continue with what Mr. Phillips Keaton says. But the Nets, who clearly targeted last season and this season to bottom out after reacquiring their draft picks from the Houston Rockets last summer, which they obviously originally sold in the Harden deal and basically gave up too much to get them back because they couldn't have Houston's, playoff success winning picks. That wouldn't do them any good. So they had to overpay to get those back under their own belt and control their own destiny in terms of the draft lottery. But they were one of several teams to have bad luck in the lottery, falling to eighth. There we go. Bone Taps continued. The Nets, who have had the league's worst roster, are in the bottom 10 for a third straight year. No doubt they're in the bottom 10, probably the bottom 3 in terms of league record. I think this Nets team, you see any development from any guy, and Sean Marks is picking up trade talking phones because there is absolutely no need to stay in the realm of keeping guys around because you think they do something for you this season. That doesn't help you, right? You can move them on, get them off the books, reacquire a player with much more potential. Boom. That's perfect because you don't want guys that are only going to help you this season. That doesn't help you. Let's continue here, though. In what is an interesting way to evaluate whether a franchise's rebuild has a good chance of succeeding, ESPN ranks various factors of a team to come to their final rankings for an organization's rebuilding success. For example, ESPN ranks Brooklyn number 1 in terms of money. We already know their cap space is awesome at the moment, and they've been floating around that cap floor because they have so much to spend. So yes, they can go splurge in a big free agent by the time these 2028 power rankings are actually coming to fruition. Number 2 in terms of draft capital, we've already seen them go after guys that teams want to get off the salary in terms of salary dumps, acquire picks there. You also got, I think it was the vice president of scouting with the Thunder or the basketball operations for OKC, who obviously was one of the masterminds behind one of the best rebuilds in NBA history. And obviously the Thunder only looking to go up from here with their core already established. But you hire him and you do exactly what you try and replicate what the Thunder just did. Stockpile draft pick after draft pick after draft pick. Basically overload yourselves with them, and some of them have got to hit, as we've seen with J-Dub. And obviously the SGA was a small piece in the trade, but maybe the Nets strike gold and something like that. You got to keep these deals moving. And we will see him from Sean Marks coming in soon because he has to. And we'll get into that so much more in the rest of the video. But number 7 in terms of market, I'm not sure how they calculate that, but the franchise ranks 25th in management and 30th, dead last in the NBA, ESPN predicts, in 2 years, which or in 3 years, excuse me, which is unfathomable. It's unfathomable. Like, let me start here, because I'm at a loss for words. Last in players. I'm at a loss for words. First of all, I don't think there is a single person who watches the NBA who thinks this Brooklyn Nets team is now bottom 3 in the league this year, but maybe bottom 5. Like, this team does nothing this year, right? And so you're looking at a top 3 worst possible case scenario. You're talking about the 5th pick in the draft. Anything worse than that? Before you even make the selection, I want Sean Marks out the door. Before you even make the selection, bye. You can't get us a top 5 pick, bye. You're gone. I've seen enough of you. I'm tired of you. You can't get us a goodbye. That's it. It's the only word I can say. But if you're looking at a top 2 pick in this draft, and it's AJ DeBanster or Cam Boozer, like, we'll see how they play this year in college, but to think that one of those guys doesn't elevate a team enough to not be playing gutter ball consistently, and to probably, fingers crossed, have your facilitator of the future in Yegor Gelman, have him step up into that role, be a leader of this Brooklyn Nets team, be the facilitator of the future, play competent basketball, maybe even begin to score the ball at an NBA respectable rate. There's going to be too much star power and too much continuity on this basketball team 3 years down the line from now. So you're talking about the 2025 drafts are going to be NBA developed prospects by then. You are going to be seeing the best of Yegor Gelman, and he's going to be approaching his basketball prime. Not there yet, but he'll be approaching. You're going to see the 2026 pick flourishing 2 years into his NBA career. And look, I can't tell you what happens 2 years down the line from now. It's a tank this year. It's a tank probably next year. I can't tell you what happens in the 3rd year. But I would not count the Nets out from contending. And we mentioned how much money they have. Like, my problem with the big 3 was you didn't have the guys around them to win. But you have AJ DeBansta. You have Yegor Gelman. You have one of the other guys in this class emerge as one of the best. And some superstar. We don't even know who that's going to be at this point, but whatever. Stephon Castle hits unrestricted free agency, and you just add all these key building blocks. I guess Castle wasn't the best example because he's not a super max guy. But my point is, you have the foundation around. That's when you go in for the superstar. You don't get Trey Lance and Giannis tomorrow and be a play-in team. You have a genuine foundation for a winning basketball team, have an established team and an established front office. That's when you go get that superstar to elevate your team to that championship contending level. And I think that's what the Nets can do 3 years down the line from now. Let's get the wrap on this article here from Sharif Phillips-Keaton. Does a great job, as always, for the Nets Wire. He says, at the top of the page, since last summer when the Nets traded Mikal Bridges to the New York Knicks, one of the greatest trades in Nets history, for multiple first-round picks, Brooklyn general manager Sean Marks has made it clear that the future cap flexibility and acquiring draft capital were paramount for the rebuild. However, it seems that ESPN does not have much faith in Mark's ability to get the job done, especially since the roster still doesn't have projected future All-Star on it at the moment. I also think that's a little bit ridiculous, but I don't think Sean Marks is here in 2028. I mean, I sure hope he's not, but if he is, something had to have turned around by then, because you can't give him another 3 years from now. Be sitting here in the same position. He's screwed so much up, man. So much up. And you're still constantly giving him chances. That can't happen. So, great. You got draft capital from the Mikal trade. Go cash in. Go make it count. Because you haven't yet. You haven't yet, and then you blundered the Cam Thomas situation, which we can get into. You haven't done anything meaningful to me yet. So, there it is, folks. ESPN has the Nets ranked 27th 3 years down the line from now in 2028. 27th out of 30 teams. I'll pull it up here one more time for us to look at. First in money and cap space. Second in terms of draft capital. 25th in management. We're talking directly to you, Sean Marks. And 30th, without an all-star, playing gutter ball yet again in players. According to ESPN, this rebuild is not ending anytime soon for the Nets. I mean, that would be a nightmare, man. This team goes into the 2029 season. I'm in college and this team can escape this current rebuild. That would be a nightmare. I want this team to be contending in 2 to 3 years. Whew. You're talking about last in players in the league in 2028, man. I can't do this. I can't do this. I sure hope ESPN's wrong. You gotta hope. Gotta hope the Nets pan out with some lottery picks. You gotta hope this development is competent. Again, we didn't get to see Jordi Fernandez develop anyone last year. Nets didn't have a pick, first or second round. Jordi Fernandez hasn't developed a rookie yet as a head coach. This is his time to shine. He's got 5 examples, I'm sure. Yegor is going to headline that pack. I'm sure Saraf spent significant time on Long Island, but let's go. Show us what you got. ESPN gave you your props you deserved at the beginning of the article. Quote, the Nets struck gold last summer when they hired Jordi Fernandez. I mean, let's freaking hope, man. Let's hope he can develop. We see what he can do. He can make a bad team competent. And that's special. That takes ability right there. Smash the like and hit subscribe if you haven't done so yet. We got the GOATs in the chat, Jonathan King Rebbe here. Appreciate you guys. If you're tuning in right now, want to get questions, comments, thoughts in the chat, throw those in there right now. We'll get to those in just a short while. Say what's up. It doesn't even have to be a question. Say what's up if you're listening in the chat. But most importantly, make sure you're engaged with the community. Smash the like and hit subscribe. Helps us grow so much right here on the show. Helps our Nets fandom grow. You get to stay educated on the team 24/7. You get these awesome live streams. We'll have pre- and post-game coverage of every summer league, obviously, every regular season game. So this is your hub for Nets basketball content. Connor and I, the best in the business, baby. So you guys are the best for tuning in right here on the show. Connor will be back with us starting next week because, baby, basketball is in the air. We got 1 week from today. Begin the countdown, folks. Today is Tuesday, September 16th. A week from today, Brooklyn Nets basketball will officially be underway. Media day. Everything happens. We got players, coaches, general management at the podium. We get to pick their brains on what's been happening all off season. They've been hiding behind the closed curtains. But here we go. We are going to have beat reporters there asking fiery hot questions. We're going to get to react to that. We have a ton of special guests lined up, whether it be columnists for Nets writing sites, whether it be podcasters and content creators, whether it be beat reporters. This channel right here is going to have so much Nets basketball coverage. And especially when Connor gets back, we get to ramp that up even more. So we appreciate you all tuning in. And smash the like, hit subscribe if you haven't done so yet. 452 was when I last checked. I would love if we could get a couple more throughout this stream, get us oh so close to 500 subscribers. We plateaued a little bit in this true off-season range, post-summer league, preseason, pre-training camp. But I think we get back on our high horse and grow this community a ton. Appreciate you all tuning in. Smash the like and hit subscribe if you haven't done so yet. We will take a very short break. Come back, answer questions, comments, thoughts, reactions, anything to do with the Brooklyn Nets, anything to do with basketball. You're listening to the Brooklyn Boys Show live Tuesday, September 16th. Hit like, hit subscribe.
You are listening to the Brooklyn Boys Show with your host, Connor Long. If you're enjoying the show, drop us a sub and leave a like. It helps more Nets fans find us. Quick break, then back to talking Brooklyn Nets basketball.
Today's episode of the Brooklyn Boys Show is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Shoreline Sports Cards, located at 137 Main Street in Port Washington, New York. Whether you're chasing the newest hobby boxes, grabbing singles, or just want to talk cards with fellow collectors, Shoreline is the spot. They've got a massive selection across basketball, football, baseball, and more, with new inventory hitting the shelves every single week. If you're local, make sure to stop by the shop at 137 Main Street in Port Washington and check it out for yourself. If you're not in the area, no worries at all. You can still keep up with Shoreline by following them on Instagram, eBay, and whatnot for product drops, live breaks, deals, and hobby updates. All links are right in the description down below. Huge thanks to Shoreline Sports Cards for supporting the show and the Brooklyn Nets community.
You are listening to the Brooklyn Boys Show live Tuesday, September 16th, streaming to you right here on YouTube. Appreciate you all tuning in. Like and subscribe, completely free. Takes 3 seconds out of your day. Helps us a ton. We say hello to all those of you in the chat. King Ribby RM, our biggest, most loyal Knicks supporter in the house, who says, Josh, by the way, just became I would guess New York Liberty fan. That is the Statue of Liberty. But then we also have the crying of laughter and the golf emoji. So, King Ribby, I'm guessing just became a Liberty fan. Congrats. Hope that treats you well. I know the Liberty just went to the playoffs for the WNBA. They're in the first round. So I'm hoping they win. They're the local team. My mom likes them. I couldn't tell you anything about, I don't even know who they're playing, but let's go Liberty. If I had to pick a WNBA team, that would be my team. Smash the like, hit subscribe, and share. You heard it from the source right here himself, King Ruby RM. If you haven't done so yet, and you're tuning in, like and subscribe. Helps us grow a ton. Jonathan is also in the building, who has a ton of takes loaded up, so we'll get to all those and more. Throw your takes in the comment section if you haven't done so yet. He says, Brian Lewis to the New York Post confirmed Cam Thomas signed in a qualifying offer, meant he's walking next year, and the relationship with the Nets is beyond repair. Cam can't be traded till December 15th. Is that what they said? I that's not the way I understood it. I don't think that's correct, Jonathan. I'll do my digging after the show. But I think it's just that he has the no trade clause. And he can be traded wherever, but he gets veto rights. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, in the chat. But yes, I think we all knew, to your first point there, that Cam Thomas was going to walk after the season, that this was it. You couldn't have imagined any sort of situation where he comes back, somehow the Nets sugarcoated enough for him to sign a deal, but I don't even know if he plays, man. The Nets could screw him over. He could screw over the Nets. There's so many ways this goes down. It's so head-scratching. It's such a headache to think about, like, how bad that whole situation broke itself down, I'll say. King Ruby RM says Tankathon. Yes, sir, King Ruby. That's the goal. That's how it's going to work out. It is a tankathon this year, next year, until the foundation is laid for this Nets team to be something great. Let's see here. With this insane overloading of guards, which is now at 10 after the Kobe Buffkin trade, does the Ben Surratt selection feel like a waste of a pick? Look, I got into this a lot yesterday on the show, which ran for about an hour, talking about Kobe Buffkin. But no, I don't hate this trade at all because he's a very high upside guy and a very low risk guy. And you only traded cash considerations, which is nothing for this Nets team. So you basically got him for free. And the salary is very cheap. You're risking nothing here for a former 15th overall pick and a guy that, when healthy, which is a big when, a big if, because he had right shoulder surgery that only allowed him to play 10 games last year. He's been out for basically the majority of his NBA career, kind of like Dariq Whitehead. And so I like this pickup. I think he makes the team, but there are 10 guards right now. There are 10 guards right now. Playing time is going to be a mess. I don't think Ben Surratt is a waste of a pick at this point, though, because he's a project. Kobe Buffkin, you're going to be able to find out pretty easily in his time on the court whether or not he could be something for this Brooklyn Nets team. He hasn't gotten his fair shot, which is why Atlanta wanted to move on and why Brooklyn was willing to take him in. But he'll get his fair shot, and you'll find out pretty quickly. Ben Saraf, however, is a project. He is a higher upside guy. He's a bigger guard that can, knife his way into the paint and get to the rim, but that's not something we're going to see in year one. We don't even know how much he's going to play it at the NBA level. That's still TBD. No, Saraf is not a waste of a pick here. I just think that Buffkin adding gives you more potential, which is all the Nets are looking for right now. Saraf was not a waste of a pick. Let's see here. Yes, Josh and I have called December for Brooklyn Married Tank Month because they're facing a ton of potential lottery teams, and you don't win those games, you don't win any games. That's what I've been saying. That's what I'll say. As the days go by, man, I told you once upon a farm that this Nets team was that 21 games was a little disrespectful for a Jordy Fernandez-led coaching staff. As the days go by, I mean, the win total in my head just lowers and lowers and lowers. I'm at like 18 right now. I'm at 18 and a half, I would say, is a fair over-under at this point. Because, man, it's going to be brutality this year. Don't go into the Barclays expecting a win. We'll see a couple upsets, I'm sure. We'll see a game or two that end like they did in Houston or against Houston when they had 2 threes in 6 seconds. But don't expect a high-quality product on the floor. This is all about the tank. This is all about the development. The Brooklyn Boys' only good news today was Lewis also reported that the Nets are likely to trade Highsmith at the deadline. Could collect 2 to 3 second-round picks due to his defense. Yes, his defense is his most valuable asset, but yes, he's also hurt right now, so he doesn't provide contending teams any upside at the moment. And so the Nets are kind of just going to have to hoard him off. And I think that's just going to deem him a roster spot right then and there just because of his ability. But yes, Highsmith can easily be gone at the deadline. He does not have a role in this Nets team long-term future. I would have no problem shipping him away, but I've said it before, I'll say it again. Jonathan, 2 to 3 second-round picks. Like, you tell me what this eventually turns into. Obviously, the second-round picks are, where you can try and strike, a diamond in the rough, a needle in the haystack with one of these international prospects like Nikola Jokic, who was a 40s overall pick, drafted during a Taco Bell ad famously, and has been a multiple-time MVP, NBA championship, and carried the Denver Nuggets back into relevancy. But it's also like, yeah, sure, get as many second-round picks as you get. How about one of these guys works out? How about one of these guys makes an NBA-level impact? How about one of these guys is actually memorable the year after you draft him? Because for this Nets team right now, that's not the case. And so I'm tired of just stockpiling second-round picks. I'm fine. Whatever. Trade Highsmith. You take on his salary for a little bit. Miami needs the roster spot. Miami needs the money. But just negotiating for second-round picks, I suppose. But I guess what? You can trade package 4 of these second-round picks up and get a late first at this point. It just all depends where the second-round picks are going. If you're picking 31st versus if you're picking 51st. Big difference there. Big difference for sure. Jonathan says, Josh, honest question. Marx has preached culture for so many years, but does that phrase seem more like a company policy as opposed to a standard? Yeah, I locker room felt like broken throughout the Marx tenure. The whole Kyrie debacle in the Big Three. And then just I can't imagine it's easy for guys in that locker room to know that the Brooklyn Nets don't want them here as a future, to know that they want to lose as many games as possible, does the front office. Can't imagine it's easy to go in there and give full effort every night. So I think it's really weird, but I also think it's what Sean Marks kind of has to say. He kind of has to say, yeah, we'll go out there. This is a new Nets team. If he doesn't, I mean, he could be brutally honest with the media. It's just going to cost him his job, which I don't think he's looking to facilitate there, a self-resignation, if you will. So I hope the Nets can uphold the standard, but Jonathan, my honest answer for your honest question is that I think if there's anybody to hold this team to a high standard, it's going to be Jordy Fernandez. It's going to be this coaching staff. It's not going to be Sean Marks just giving the media lip service and trying to do its best in the interest of his job and not actually give us the facts. Last couple here before we wrap on a quick 35-minute edition of the Brooklyn Boys Show. If you haven't yet, want to get in there, I see 5 of you in the chat right now. Questions, comments, thoughts. We'll wrap with a couple last ones from Jonathan here if we don't get anything else, but like and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Helps us a ton. The Brooklyn motto used to be the Brooklyn way, and now it's called, hey, remember we play in New York too. The direction of this team feels so all over the place, and next year's draft is so key. I love that. I mean, that's so true. The Brooklyn way era was so fun. Like all about grit, grind, determination, hustle. That was the Brooklyn way. It felt good to be a Nets fan back then. You were like, yeah, I want to represent my borough. And I think you're right. These days it's like, ooh, the New York Knicks stealing the national media spotlight. But hello, we're adding Terrence Mann, so looky over here. Like, you're not contending. Nobody gives a crap about the Nets, and nobody wants to watch Nets basketball right now unless you're a diehard. So all the more reason for the national media to ignore the Brooklyn Nets these days. Nets gotta, until the Nets prove it, why would anybody want to watch them? You gotta prove you're a good basketball team for teams and for the media to care about you, right? Like, of course there's diehard fans who will watch no matter what. I like to categorize myself into that group. But you wonder why the Nets only have 2 national media games this year? Nobody wants to watch them. They're in Brooklyn. They play in New York City. They play a couple miles away from MSG. They play in the biggest city in the world. And they can't compete with shit right now. They can't compete with horse racing right now. My goodness. Yeah, Jonathan, I get pissed about it all the time. For sure. Little brother activities, that's what I'll say. Hate to admit it, but it's true. But I also just feel like the Nets fan base doesn't show up when they need them to the most. Like, there's going to be a ton of games at the Barclays this year that are just going to be away games practically, and the away fans are going to flood it. Not just Knicks games, Lakers games, Warriors games. You get popular teams coming to the Barclays. It's an away team takeover for sure. And many people want to travel to New York City, but Knicks tickets are too expensive. Boom. You go watch your team in a Nets game. They'll probably win too. Last couple here. Coach Jordy Fernandez has an insane juggling act to balance out with finding important development for the Flatbush Five, building the vets trade value, and securing a good lottery position. I think, yeah, like the playing time is going to be the biggest influential piece on the season. That's going to be the most telling tale. Whether they prioritize getting CT actual run, whether it's just can the rookies play as well as I hope they can, whether it's can we build up Terrence Mann's stock. There's a ton, but it all focuses back to what does Coach Jordy value most, and I sure hope it's the rookies. I sure hope it is the rookies, because if not, I can't help you. I can't help you. Giving Cam Thomas 30 minutes a night. Who does that help? Who does that help? Especially after we just talked about Brian Costello confirming they have no future. Who does giving him 30 minutes a night help? Quick answer, nobody. Jonathan says, I looked it up and says Cam Thomas is trade eligible on December 15th after signing the qualifying offer. Source, please. I need you to set your source. But I will look into that right after the show. If I was not doing a solo show, I'd get you an accurate reading on that right now. But I am. Jonathan, good show. Appreciate you as always tuning in. King Rebby, the Knicks fan in the house. But John thinks the Nets fans are better. Look, I think that the few diehard Nets fans can compete with the large amount of diehard Knicks fans, but as a fan base, it's not close. I'll tell you one of that. Brooklyn is one of the top media teams in the NBA. Yeah, they get covered, but right now it's all the wrong publicity with MPJ. Luckily, that stuff has died down. He's become less of a lunatic, um, and that's kind of he's stepped out of the national spotlight. Thankfully, hopefully, his agency actually recommended him to do something good for once in his life. What's going on, B-Man Boy 81? Appreciate you tuning in. You caught the tail end of the show. You're the best, Jonathan King. Everybody in the chat, everybody tuning in. Smash like and hit subscribe. Drop down below this video. Click sub. Most important thing you can do to help this channel out if you haven't done so yet. We talked all things Brooklyn Nets on this episode. More specifically, we broke down ESPN's 3-year projection of where they think the Nets are going to be. It was awful, but we got my raw reaction. Go back, watch that if you haven't done so yet. Watch it on rewatch. But that'll do it for me. I am Josh Wooliver, host of the Brooklyn Boys Show. Tuesday, September 16th is your date. Officially 1 day away, or one day away, 1 week away, officially from Media Day. We will get so much key content out to you guys. Appreciate you all tuning in. Smash the like if you haven't done so yet. Smash subscribe, comment section, share this with friends and family. I'm Josh Wooliver for the Brooklyn Boys Show, saying have a good night, everybody. So long, and let's go Nets. See you on the next one. Thank you for tuning in. Have a blessed night, everyone.